Hey guys, Barrett here. Welcome back to another video. Today I am fulfilling a long awaited request from a lot of you in the pickleball world, and that is about pickleballs. What are the differences? Which ones should you get? Which ones are the most cost effective, and so on. I'm going to go into all the details, so stick with me. This is going to be a really great video. It's going to help you understand pickleballs on a little bit of a deeper level. Now, I gotta say, these videos take quite a while to produce, to edit, render, upload, publish, and so on. So at this point in time, I'd like to ask for your subscription to my YouTube channel. You can just scroll right down below, smash that sub button. Would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, before we get into the juicy details about pickleballs, it's important to understand some of the lingo here. So obviously, pickleball can be played indoor or outdoor, but the way people use these words is a little bit different. So when we say, let's go play outdoor pickleball, well, it's pretty obvious. You're going to play outside on either a tennis court that's been lined for pickleball or an actual legit pickleball court. However, when we say that we're going to go play inside, that is much different. When people say indoor pickleball, what they're really saying is we're going to play on a basketball court or like a volleyball court that's been lined for pickleball. It's gymnasium flooring, like wood flooring, right? So that's what people mean when they say we're going to play indoor. Obviously, you can play on pickleball courts indoor, but when people say indoor pickleball, they mean basketball courts, essentially. So that's the first thing to understand about this kind of stuff. And pickleballs are made for either one of these things, either a gymnasium court inside or a tennis court or pickleball court either indoor or outdoor. So hopefully that made sense. Now for outdoor play, typically you're going to see a ball that has smaller holes like you see here, and you're also going to have a ball that is significantly harder. If someone were to smash this thing, this is a brand new ball. I'll get into the brand in just a little bit. But if someone were to smash this right at me and it were to hit me right in the sternum here, which has happened to me, by the way, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. However, if someone were to hit you with an indoor balls typically have larger holes and they're a little bit softer. It's not going to hurt nearly as much. Now, there's a reason for these things. Outdoor balls have to withstand the wind. They have to be a little bit more solid in their construction, and the holes in the ball have to be smaller so that the wind doesn't blow it around so much. Whereas with an indoor ball, typically what you see is larger holes that the wind, because there is no wind. I mean, you've got an AC system, but that just doesn't count. So typically, when you're gonna go into play pickleball outside, this is the kind of ball that you'll see. Hard with smaller holes. Indoor, softer with larger holes. So let's just start with outdoor play. Let's talk about some pickleballs here. Now, if you're a complete beginner, there's no need to just automatically go for the most expensive type of pickleball out there that all of the advanced players use. In fact, you really don't want to, which I'm going to explain. Essentially, this is how an outdoor ball works. You play with the ball continually, and what will happen is it begins to wear down. Okay, and that wearing down, typically the process is it begins to egg. So one side of it will squish and the other sides will kind of poke out just a little bit. We call that egging. And then eventually it will break. But here's the thing, is that some outdoor pickleballs break before others. Now, believe it or not, that's actually kind of a good thing. So right here I have the DuraFast 40. This right here is like the ultimate ball. It's the standard ball. It's the ball that everyone uses in outdoor play for the most part. There are exceptions, which again, I'm going to get into. But here's the thing about the Dura, is that it's really not that durable. Believe it or not. I know it's called Dura. It's not durable at all. They break very easily and typically very quickly. We go through these things like nuts. So typically what happens when it comes to the constitution of a pickleball is, like I said, it'll begin to wear down, but as it wears down, it gets softer. And when it gets softer, you can't hit the ball as hard, and it changes the way you play, and it changes the way the ball feels on your paddle. Okay, So if you were to use a ball that doesn't crack very easily and lasts for a really long time, it will eventually just turn into butter. And it almost feels like you're hitting like just a ball of mush, really. And you can't hit the ball as hard and so on. But that's the thing about the Dura. The Dura, before that can even happen, before the ball softens up so much to where you can barely even feel it, it will crack. And when it cracks, you discard it and you're on to the next ball. And that's really the reason, the big reason why people use the Dura. Not only because it's really hard and you can really smack the ball, but because before it gets too soft, it just cracks and you're on to the next ball. But if you were to look at a different ball, like the Onyx Fuse here, the Onyx Fuse Outdoor, that's a different story. This ball does not crack nearly as easily. However, it's also much cheaper. So if you're more of a beginner and you need an outdoor ball, again, you don't need to go for something like the Dura. This is what all the advanced players use. You can easily get away with using something like the Onyx Fuse Outdoor Ball. It'll last you much longer, but beware, it'll also get softer and it'll change the way the game is played. This is why people love the Dura. Now, the next outdoor ball I'd like to talk about is one that's kind of in the middle, and that is the Franklin. Now, I know I'm like holding up these balls and like you can't see the logos or anything, but there's like a little X right there. You can't see it. But this is more of a middle road kind of ball. It's not as soft as the Onyx Fuse, but it's also not quite as hard as the Dura. The Franklin will soften up quite a bit when you're using it, but it will also last a little bit longer. So in general, when it comes to outdoor balls, you can look at it as the Onyx Fuse is on one end, the Franklin is in the middle, and then the Dura is at the very end. The Dura is the most expensive, and they don't last nearly as long. However, the Onyx Fuse is the least expensive, but it's also the most cost effective. So if you're a beginner, you're looking for some outdoor balls, just go with the Onyx. Like, it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter that much if you're a complete beginner. However, if you're taking pickleball a little bit more seriously and you're really starting to enjoy this, maybe you can go for the Franklin. The Franklin's not a bad deal. And look, a lot more outdoor tournaments are starting to play with the Franklin now. Most of them are with the Dura, but Franklin is really starting to make its ball well known in the industry. So obviously, if you're a super serious player, you're playing in tournaments, it's important to play with whatever ball is going to be used in the tournament. Most likely that's going to be the Dura, but that's the outdoor situation. Now, when it comes to indoor play on gymnasium surface, this is where things get a little bit different. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any indoor balls with me. I haven't played indoor pickleball in a long time, but the thing is about indoor is the ball bounces really high. So this was a big topic of discussion back in, I think it was early 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And basically a lot of people were talking about the indoor balls, how they bounce too high and so on. If you're a bit new to pickleball, you don't want the ball to bounce high when it lands over on your opponent's side of the court, because then they have a steeper angle going down towards you, right? So you want that ball to bounce low. The thing about gymnasium courts, though, is that these balls bounce sky high. So what people were doing early on is they would get a brand new set of balls to play indoor, like at an indoor tournament on gymnasium flooring. They would take them out and then they would beat them up. They would smack them up against the wall. They would squish them down and so on, because the softer they are, the lower they bounce. However, manufacturers have done a pretty good job recently trying to fix this problem, but there is one ball that hasn't changed at all, and that's the Jugs. Now, if you're more of an experienced player, the Jugs ball is absolutely legendary when it comes to indoor play. This ball is like hitting a ball of butter. It is extremely soft. It doesn't travel very far, but they last forever. They'll crack eventually, but they last a long time. If you're trying to get a venue together, maybe you're trying to get open play started, or you're a complete beginner that's looking to get into pickleball, but you can only play indoor on gymnasium courts, just go with the Jugs. It's a great choice. It's an economy ball, nothing wrong with it. Now, if you want to take a step up, you can go to the Onyx Fuse Indoor. This is pretty much the standard when it comes to indoor competitive play, again on basketball courts. But of course, it will soften up eventually and then crack, but it gets soft, like really soft. So there is a huge difference between a brand new Onyx indoor ball and one that's been played for like 6 months. Now, of course, they will eventually crack and start to bend, but that's just kind of the nature of indoor play. It's apparently pretty hard to design a ball that doesn't go soft for that kind of pickleball. But again, if you're just getting started, you may as well buy a whole bunch of jugs. They'll last you forever. But if you're getting a little bit more serious, I would just go with the Onyx Fuse Indoor. Overall, I think that it's important to understand that a ball is a ball is a ball for the most part. If you're just looking to play, just grab a ball and start playing. Try not to fret about it too much. But I think it is important to understand in terms of like the current metagame or how the game is currently played. Outdoor, it's the Dura, pretty much always, with the Franklin coming in a close second. Indoor, it's only the Onyx Fuse. Like when it comes to competitive play, it's the Onyx Fuse. Franklin does have an indoor ball. It's like this like turquoise colored thing. It's interesting looking. That one is played sometimes, but for the most part, it's going to be the Onyx Fuse. All right, guys, that's pickleballs. I hope that was helpful. Again, I think it's really important to understand not to drive yourself too crazy with this sort of stuff. If you've got a ball to play with and it works and you got some friends, go out and have some fun playing pickleball. I hope you guys enjoy it out there on the courts. If you want to, you can go to pickleballkitchen.com. Got a bunch of stuff on there, articles, podcasts, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And as usual, I'll see you next time.